Hi, everybody. John Hen with the Pulsing Cinema, and the movie of the day today is a great film. It's the picture of an efficient, independent horror film or thriller, whatever you want to call it. 2014 film Preservation. I just watched it last night on Netflix. Actually, I don't know if there is even a DVD release of the film. But Preservation is a backwoods survivalist horror film. That type of movie in the mold of a Deliverance or Rituals. You know, they were pumping these types of movies out in the 70s by the gallon. They were just pumping these movies out. In the case of Preservation, we have a bunch of city slickers. In this case, two brothers and one of the brothers' wife, who go to this abandoned state park, a state park that's closed. They break the gate open and go inside, but the problem is that they're not alone, and very soon they become prey for this group of people, unknown entities in the forest who have an unknown agenda. Oh my God, a great film. The leads, the two brothers, just beautifully cast. One of them, Pablo Schreiber from Orange is the New Black. The prison guard, porn stash. I didn't want to say the name, but what the hell? You know who I'm talking about. Who looks, in this case, disturbingly like Noah Wyle. Yes, without that, without the lip bling, the man looks disturbingly like Noah Wyle. The other guy is one of the actors from Mad Men. The wife is incredible. So it's an incredible little ensemble of these three actors who find themselves in the woods, and there's a whole dynamic between them. You would say there's almost kind of a love triangle that builds. There's so much tension between the brothers and the wife. And it just purposely drawn, because these backwoods thrillers, they're always about characters. It's not so much about the effects or or if is there a Madman Mars that'll jump out and then he looks something. No. This is not that type of horror film or what you call a thriller or a psychological thriller, because these are all about, they're survivalist backwoods type films. Or are you going to survive? Do you have the guts that it takes to kill somebody? And if you've seen Deliverance, if you've seen Just Before Dawn, if you've seen Rituals, if you've seen all of these other films, you know the game, the score, that you'll have a weak character that will go on this dynamic journey and will be put through these tests, and then in the end will hopefully come out on the top, on the top of the heap. That's not a big mystery. That shouldn't be a big surprise if you've seen these films. And Preservation is just that type of movie. Beautifully shot. I mean, I'm assuming we have digital photography, but there's a lot of, very, very, very beautiful footage inside the forest. There's always these great, even if you have a horrible film like Don't Go in the Woods Alone, or, the lowest budgeted, bottom of the barrel, Z-grade, no budget film. Somehow you shoot it in the woods and it just elevates the production, just the production value that you can get from some light bouncing through the trees, and it's a beautiful film. And this film really is, controlled, beautiful. I feel like the less I tell you about the film, the better in some ways, because this, the backwoods films, when the assaults start and these people are being hunted, the question that's always brought up is why are these people doing it? Why are these people hunting these other people? Why? And this film feels like kind of like a backwoods 70s thriller combined with the modern horror of You're Next and Eden Lake. I think there was a film called Eden Lake that was very similar in concept to this film. I haven't seen Eden Lake. I haven't seen most modern horror. Everybody will, if you go on the Internet Movie database message board for preservation, they'll be like, oh, it's like this film, it ripped off this film, it ripped off this Spanish film, it ripped off this thing, and then it's the modern criticism, because everybody gets on their Netflix queue and watches these old movies or watches them on YouTube, whatever. Now they're expert. Now this guy's ripping off that guy, and everything's a rip-off, and everything's, everything sucks, and everything is horrible. But again, I haven't seen those other movies. I can just talk about this film, and I can tell you that this is a quite a good film, And I guess I will say this about the motivation of the killers. For me, the end reveal of what the killer's motivation is about, it makes perfect sense. In some ways, it made a lot more sense than the You're Next killer's motivation, or what have you. The killer's motivation in this film is so kind of ridiculous and absurd, but it's such an appropriate motivation in this modern culture, this modern youth culture. I think that's where they're going with this, and then just the anger and the stuff that you see online and what have you, and the ridiculous, infantilized kind of, not unrealistic culture of the youth these days. I just picked that up totally. Picked it up. I was like, oh my God, this is just exactly. I think if you look at it within that context, oh my God, this is just, it's in some ways ridiculous, obviously, that someone would go to this extent and get into this, but that's where I think the filmmakers are coming from, and I hope I'm not being too vague there, but yeah. I what I'm saying is I personally love their motivation. I thought it was absolutely appropriate. That it's not. I guess I'll spoil it in this way. It's not like these woods are ours, or these city folk are going to it. No, it's something else. It's something else completely. It's something far more just ridiculous and random, maybe. So, man, I didn't even know this film existed, really. I don't even know how you find these films, and I don't even know how these films exist and how they live, because it's sad. It feels like almost this film, which is just a portrait of low-budget, independent film efficiency. It feels like it was born 20 years too late, 25 years too late. If this was a late 80s, early 90s film, it might be a USA movie, TV movie of the week. You'd see it in video stores, and you'd see the poster in video stores, and you would see it around, and it would kind of have a life beyond a theatrical release. It would, it'd be like one of those movies. These backwoods movies, like literally that movie Backwoods, and then little movies like this and Rituals, and these movies would just hang on video shelves for years, and people would see them and watch them, and they would garner a bit of a cult following over the years, and they would just have somehow a life beyond just a random showing on television, once or twice a year, and then off you go. They would have a life of of television, then home video release and direct to video, and even direct to video. Sometimes that stuff would stick around, it would stay around, and sometimes careers were made of that. The careers of all those low budget filmmakers were just. Sometimes these films would just permeate and exist, and you'd have some Fredo and Larray movies like Alienator or Scalps or Biohazard, and they would just hang on the shelves for years and years and years. And with something like in the modern day, what do you get? You get you show up on Netflix, and without a promotion, maybe you play some film festivals for, once, one time in 1 year, and then maybe a year later, show up on Netflix. You get some bad reviews on Netflix. You get some, 14-year-old kids watching your movie, and then write some bad movies in the IMDb. Forgettable, forget it. Doesn't matter. Within, within 3 months, your movie's gone from, living to just not existing anymore. It's just a very sad thing culturally that movies like this, that movies like Preservation, which I think is a genuinely good film, technically a good film, as far as story, just a good, simple, direct plot. Narratively, I think it just moves along, because you feel with some of these films, they seem to crap out at the end. They seem to they can't sustain the kind of terror, and then toward the end, when there become a limited amount of protagonists which are healthy enough to fight the killers. That happens in all these movies. It happened in Just Before Dawn. Somehow, sometimes it gets a little bit ridiculous, and it's can it sustain itself to the end? Can we really buy into how the limited amount of protagonists, how they dispatch the killers, or how they get out of this danger? Can we buy into that? Even some movies like Rituals and Just Before Dawn, which I talk about, sometimes even they have problems toward the end, as far as being able to sustain that and keep it something that is realistic and keep suspension of disbelief and draw the viewer in and into something that they can buy into. And there are these same concerns in Preservation, but I think I buy the ending of the film. I think it works, and totally appropriate. And I was just left shocked at the end. I thought it was great. I really thought I thought it was a film which deserves more than modern movie-going can offer it. Really, it's a movie that deserves to be on a shelf for years on VHS or DVD, and just have people, oh, what's that? Have that interesting cover that someone every few months picks up and enjoys, instead of just something that's on a Netflix queue that's shuffled around and then, eventually deleted and lost and gone. So Preservation, yeah, definitely if you like survivalist horror, if you like backwoods films, if you like good movies with good solid characters, then this is a film you definitely need to check out.